Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast. This week's episode is titled, The DISC Style That Makes the Best Leader. A common question I get in teaching and training, coaching, consulting, using the DISC model, is which of the four DISC styles, or which style blend, would make the best leader? And the short answer is the one that's in control. And when I say in control, I mean in control of itself. Let me amplify that thought a little bit more. When I say in control of itself, what I mean is that the person who understands themselves well enough to control their behaviors and call on the right behaviors at the right time is the person who has the best DISC style. And the good news is that none of the four styles has a monopoly on that. There are people with very strong dominant traits who are aware of themselves enough to know how to moderate their behaviors and choose, I would say, other than dominant style behaviors for different situations. And you can make the same argument for people with inspiring traits, supportive traits, and cautious traits. No single DISC style or style blend has a monopoly on the best leadership traits and attributes. There are times in everyone's leadership journey where all of the four styles are important. They may not be simultaneously important. Different situations call for different behaviors, and all of them at some point in time will become important. So let me say that again. It might be true that different leadership situations call for different behaviors that come from each of the four DISC styles. And all of the behaviors at some point in time will be important, and all of the behaviors are accessible to all people. They're only accessible to you, though, if you're aware of yourself and know how to moderate your natural tendencies to choose a behavior that might be other than your natural behavior. I'll use myself as an example, and we could do this for all of the four styles, but we'll say that my primary style is the cautious style, which means that by nature I tend to isolate and work alone and those kinds of things. And there are times in every leadership journey when it's necessary to engage with your team, celebrate a victory, laugh, joke, tell stories, those kinds of things, basically have a party. And those would traditionally or typically be categorized as I-style behaviors, and they are accessible to me. I can do them. They might not be natural to me. They might not be the first thing that comes to mind. It is incumbent upon me as a leader to recognize that there are situations that call for that behavior. So let's go around the four DISC behaviors and see where they might fit. Well, there are times to act quickly and decisively. There are times to make decisions with limited information. There are times to really move rather than analyze. Well, that's a D-style behavior, and there are situations that definitely call for that. And there are situations where that could get you in trouble. There are times when it's important to slow down, listen to people, maybe wait a little bit, let things play out, see how it turns out. Those would typically, using DISC language, be more S-style behaviors. And there are times when that's an appropriate behavior, when making a quick decision could get you in trouble. And the idea is to recognize that it's not always the right behavior. Sometimes you have to act quickly. Sometimes you have to slow down. And as I already said, sometimes there's time to laugh and joke and tell stories and celebrate with your team. Sometimes it's time to high five and be very happy around people and smile and engage and make sure there's time for everybody to talk. There are times when that's critical. And sometimes it's important to slow down, dig into the details, and build systems so that your team can succeed. Well, one environment, the laugh, joke, tell stories, to celebrate, is more classically inspiring style environment or behavior. And the dig into details, build systems, is typically considered more of a cautious style behavior. The point is, they're both important. The idea is not which one is better. The question to ask is, which one is appropriate in the situation? And that's why I say that the best DISC style is the one that fits the situation, and that is chosen by the leader who's in control of themselves. By in control of yourself, I basically mean that you choose an appropriate behavior for the situation rather than let your natural tendency drive you to behave with whatever feels comfortable to you. So we're back to the core question. What DISC style makes the best leader? The one that fits the situation and is demonstrated by the person who's in control of themselves. Now, a lot of ways you can do this. You can tap into the advice from advisors and mentors and coaches, even members of your own team, for insight on how to do things better and get different perspectives and see if maybe a perspective other than your natural one is the best one for this situation or the better one for this situation. You can make conscious effort to practice doing things that you struggle with. If you have a lot of dominant traits, you can practice slowing down and listening. It'll get more comfortable. If you have supportive traits, you can practice speaking up and deciding quickly. It'll get more comfortable. You can delegate pieces of this leadership puzzle to different members of your team who might have strengths that complement your own. Frankly, there are lots of ways that you can get the thing done or choose the behavior or the approach in the situation that is appropriate for this situation. Lots of different ways. They don't all depend on you being the person to do it. They do depend on you as leader being the person who recognizes it needs to be done. You really just need to be aware of yourself enough and develop the insight and perspective to read situations enough to know what is the most appropriate or most likely to produce a good outcome in this particular situation, and then take the action or actions to engage with the right people, make the right decisions, collect the right information, do whatever needs to be done to make the thing you're trying to achieve in this moment or in this point in time in the history of your team get done or accomplished. Back to the core question. Which DISC style makes the best leader? Well, none of the four, if they're out of control. The person who makes the best leader is the person who knows himself well, knows their strengths and weaknesses, knows their blind spots and their comfort zones, knows how to read a situation and call on the right behavior at the right time. It is independent of your natural style. It is really driven by your awareness and your choice to choose the right style. So the DISC style that makes the best leader is the one that is in control of itself. If you can learn how to recognize your strengths, weaknesses, and blind spots, call on the right behaviors at the right time, engage with the right people to get the help you need in areas where it might not be comfortable for you, you can talk like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.